Nikki here. So, I know it's been a little while since I made my last video about my expectations for the movie adaptation of The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, but I just needed a little bit of time to kind of process everything, because when I first walked out of the theater, I honestly had no idea how I felt about the movie. In fact, I was with my best friend at the time, and she asked me, and I did not have an answer, because honestly, the more I've reflected on my feelings about the movie, there were a lot of things I didn't like, and then there was a few things that I did like. So I'm just going to spend this video sharing my two main qualms about the movie with you guys, and then the one thing that I did actually really like about how the film kind of handled the story. So my first qualm with the movie was this. And it's kind of a qualm that I have with all of the Hunger Games movie adaptations, but specifically with this one, maybe because the story content is just a little bit more obvious, but that is the sanitization of the story. When I first read the book Mockingjay, and then when I reread it recently, one of the things that is most striking about the novel is the brutality, is the blood and the gore, and the horrific violence of war. And I think the reason why it's there is because the author Suzanne Collins is trying to get at the fact that in war, nobody really wins. I mean, obviously there's a side that wins the war and there's a side that loses the war, but as people, nobody wins, as humanity. And I think she did an excellent job, kind of making that point in the book. However, the movie, because it sanitizes everything and it takes out the fact that Katniss shoots a, unarmed woman in the Capitol through the heart with an arrow and leaves it there because she thinks that the woman's going to call for a peacekeeper or someone. They left that out. They left out just the horrible, that moment where there's the child in the yellow coat and the child's, blood is going everywhere after the child gets shot. They left that out, of course, because you can't have a child actually bleed in a PG-13 movie, because according to the MPAA, you can't have any blood when it involves children, though you can have violence, as, evidenced by the first Hunger Games movie. And then you can't have any blood if somebody's inflicting it on somebody else. However, as proven by the end of this movie, when President Snow dies because he's laughing while coughing up his own blood while people maul him, because he's laughing because President Coin got shot instead of him. Now that's okay, because he's an old guy and he's dying of things he did to himself, so that's fine, apparently. So, yes, altogether, I don't know, the movie wasn't as poignant as the book, and I felt like they glazed over a lot of the horrific scenes, the scenes that made me cringe as a reader as I was reading them, but yet I'm glad that they were in the book because they helped make Collins' statement. For instance, you have the scene where Peeta's talking about how when he was in the Capitol in a cage, he could hear the maimed animal-like screams of Darius, who was a previous peacekeeper and later turned into an Avox, as they chopped this poor man's arms and legs off just to basically torture Peeta. Not because they wanted to get information from Darius, but just so Peeta would hear his screams. And it painted such a picture in my mind, and it made me feel almost horrified for Peeta, because I'm 23, and the thought that somebody only a few years younger than me would have to endure such a hideous evil really kind of messes with my mind, which is great, because I think that a good dystopian novel that is trying to teach you something as a reader should mess with your mind. It should haunt you. Otherwise, it's not doing its job, which is why I don't think this movie did its job, at least the job that Collins originally wanted it to do, the story that is. My second qualm with the movie was the surprise evil of President Coin. And let me explain. In Mockingjay Part 1, Coin seems really nice to Katniss. She's empathetic, she's, I know how you feel losing your your loved ones because I lost a child and blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of get like whiplashed as a viewer in part 2 when suddenly Boggs is, he tells Katniss, oh, hey, Coin, sent Peeta here to kill you because she knows you're not going to back her when it comes time for the election. And I don't know, as a viewer, if I hadn't read the book, I would have thought to myself, what the heck is going on? Because Coin's been so nice to Katniss, there hasn't been any hint that she might not like her or might feel threatened by her. Whereas in the book, it is plainly clear. When Boggs says that, it's only like he's only confirming what Katniss has been thinking the whole time. So yeah, you have this surprise evil of Coin that it just didn't make sense. I mean, maybe they wanted it to be kind of a surprise, like a plot twist in the second film, but I just didn't think it played out well. So, those are my main 2 qualms about the movie, but, however, there was one thing that I actually really liked and I thought they handled very well in the film. And that was the ending, the epilogue. As you might recall, in my last video, my expectations on what I hope for this movie, I talked about how I hoped that they would handle the epilogue gracefully and actually expand upon it a little and, just give the reader, well, the viewer in this case, some closure. And they did, they showed you Katniss and Peeta kind of, embracing in bed and, which kind of symbolized, her trust in him again. And then you see their children in the end. And then what I thought was really great was how the exact words from the end of the novel, I think it may be like the last paragraph or something, Katniss actually verbally said to her baby in her arms. And I just thought it was wonderful because The Hunger Games has one of the best endings of all trilogies I've ever read, where I think the last line is like, something about, but there are far worse games to play. And it was so poetic and perfectly wrapped up everything. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the movie, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. What did you guys think of it? Did you like it? Did you not notice any of these things? Did they not bother you? Did you think that the director, Francis Lawrence, actually did a really great job, and so did the screenwriters? Or did you think it was a horrible movie, or are you somewhere in between, kind of like I was? Let me know down in the comments. As always, please subscribe, and I will see you either the end of this week, we'll see with Thanksgiving and everything, or the beginning of next. In another video, I'm thinking of doing maybe like a story time video, so just wait and see, and as always, have a great day, have a great week, and I will see you all later. Bye!